Hello, everybody. Today is Saturday, July 22nd. Today, the New York Ontario County Democratic Committee is meeting with New York Attorney General Letitia James. The meeting is going to be in the city of Geneva. I'll see everybody when I get to the meeting with Attorney General Letitia James and the rest of the Ontario County Democratic Committee.
And of course, last night, as I mentioned, I marched with the women in Seneca Falls to demonstrate the strength and the leadership and the power of women in America. And we're going to make sure that we get enacted to the amendment. I visited Millie's Market this morning in Cafe and Gates. That was wonderful. Yeah, we've got to support Millie's vision. Millie, as you know, provided funds and resources to children who did not have. And Millie and I are kindred spirits because when I was a city council member, I started the first funding for food pantries in New York City. Because when I was a city council member, I looked out my window and I saw all of these families standing on line. They were standing at line at a church, and I was wondering why. And someone told me because they were hungry, because they didn't have food. And I didn't understand why government was not part of that. And so I initiated the food pantry program in the city council, and now we fund a number of organizations in the city of New York to feed people, obviously, who are suffering from food insecurity. And then I extended it because I went to a school, and a teacher opened up a drawer, and she had all of these glasses. And I said, "What are you doing with all these glasses?" And she said, "They're for the children who can't afford to have glasses." What we've got to do is obviously make sure that we provide for the needs of individuals who unfortunately are dealing with poverty, food insecurity each and every day. We will not allow them to suffer. And so we as a government and also as volunteers have a duty to step up and to reach out to those without. And so I really want to thank Millie Cafe, Millie's Market and Cafe for all that they are doing. They're trying to renovate that historic building. I'm going to do my part to make sure that they have resources to rebuild it. There's no AC, it's not ADA compliant. There's second and third floor, obviously. They want to provide skills to individuals to teach them all about culinary skills. They want to do yoga and Zumba upstairs. And so whatever I can do to make sure that they are compliant, I am going to do that in my capacity. And so I just really wanted to give you an update on all that we are doing. You all know that we filed the most extensive lawsuit against drug manufacturers and distributors in this nation. Why? Because when I was a member of the city council, when I was a candidate for Attorney General, I made a commitment to individuals all throughout the state. Individuals who were crying over open caskets, parents and mothers and fathers who I held in my arms. And I basically said that we're going to hold these individuals accountable. And we did. We reached a settlement with some of the biggest manufacturers and distributors of opioids to the tune of $2.6 billion over a 10-year period. And we're not finished yet. That includes hundreds of thousands of dollars for Ontario County, and more to come. During my travels all throughout the state, I've been visiting a number of rehabilitation centers and recovery centers for individuals. And unfortunately, they don't have beds, right? They don't have enough counselors. They don't have enough social workers. We don't have enough supportive housing. We don't have enough hospitals because hospitals are merging together, which is an issue that we are dealing with. And what I promised all of them that I would do all that I could to make sure that those $2.6 billion would go to these rehab centers here in the state of New York. The legislature, in their wisdom, put those funds in a lockbox. So those funds would not be used for other purposes. They would be used specifically for and consistent with our settlement agreement to be used for treatment, education, prevention, and for rehabilitation and for beds. And that's what we are doing each and every day. So in my travels, I make sure that we stop always at a recovery center and a rehabilitation so I can say hello to individuals and particularly the young people to let them know that they have a friend. But I'm here also to tell you and to warn you about a new danger on the streets of New York. We're seeing it all over the state. We know a lot about fentanyl, but there's a new drug. It's called xylazine. What is xylazine? Xylazine is an animal tranquilizer, and individuals are using it with their opioids and with other drugs. It's causing overdoses, but it's also causing flesh wounds. It eats away at your skin. It is a legal drug that is used by veterinarians, but individuals are using it obviously to they combine it together in a pill form. And so there are young people who are taking these pills, and it literally turns people into zombies. It's called on the streets Tranq. And I want everyone to tell young people and organizations about the dangers of Tranq and about the dangers of xylazine and fentanyl and opioids and all of these other drugs. We should not be afraid to talk about drug abuse. We've got to destigmatize it and let individuals know about the dangers. And I will do all that I can to get resources out there for education and prevention. But I need all of you here to talk about the dangers of drug abuse. I see them everywhere that I go. And I do know that most of us have been affected by someone who's been addicted to drugs. Some people want to hide it, they don't want to talk about it. We've got to talk about it. And we've got to talk about also the effects of mental illness as well. I've been holding hearings about mental illness in the state of New York. We've got to talk about, again, the lack of beds for individuals who are struggling with mental illness. During the pandemic, what we saw was a lot of the beds that are normally reserved for people who are struggling with mental illness, they converted to COVID beds because hospitals were being reimbursed at a higher rate. And what we are trying to do is provide, again, make sure that those beds are converted back to mental health beds so that we do not see individuals who are struggling with mental illness on our streets and individuals who are struggling with drug abuse. Again, please talk to individuals about xylazine, fentanyl, opioids, and I will do all that I can to hold drug manufacturers and distributors and individuals who traffic in drugs. My office has taken down a number of bad actors who have been selling drugs on our streets. In fact, when I leave here, I'm going to Wayne County to thank the officers at the Wayne County Police Department for joining in with me to taking down individuals who engage in drugs. We have seized in the counties of Ontario, Wayne, Cayuga, Monroe, Orleans, Seneca, and Yates County the takedown of 177 charges against 48 defendants. We seized more than 10 kilograms of fentanyl and more than 10 kilograms of cocaine with a street value of $9 million. We also seized illegal firearms, including assault weapons and ghost guns. What are ghost guns? Those unserialized guns. Those guns which unfortunately serve as a threat to law enforcement. And we obviously are taking action against them. Since I've taken office as the Attorney General, in 5 years we've removed 7,000 illegal guns. 7,000. And on one day, we have removed as a result of we do gun buybacks. We take seizure money from takedowns and we take those funds and we use it for good purposes like buying back guns, giving monies to law enforcement officers for bulletproof vests, for body-worn cameras, and funds that they will need. And since we have, again, on one given day when we did a gun buyback all throughout the state, on one day, 3,000 guns. Now some people say, Tish, those gun buybacks are your grandmother's guns. Not true. We took off the streets 185 operable assault rifles. And also, we took down a number of ghost guns, which pose a threat, as I said, to law enforcement because we cannot track them and because they do not have a serial number. And so by hosting those gun buybacks, I believe it was a success, and we were able to provide individuals with resources. I was with the Vice President in Washington, D.C. last week, and we talked about the growing threat of xylazine and fentanyl and what the federal government can do. And the federal government has committed $50 million in addition to their resources that they've already committed to providing information and getting the word out and providing counties all across the state with these strips where individuals can test to see whether or not they have xylazine and or fentanyl within their drugs. And so it's important because we need to prevent overdoses and we need to let individuals know about the dangers of xylazine. I also led a bipartisan coalition of 39 attorney generals to protect communities from the dangers of xylazine. Again, we're trying to get it legalized, and there is a law that is before Washington, D.C., before Congress, to get it legalized. We support it, and I led an effort to do that. In addition to taking guns and drugs off the street, I'm also focused on protecting those impacted by the recent flooding, and I've got to make sure I get this right. Cayuga Dagun, did I say that right? How do you say it? Canandaigua. I gotta practice that. Canandaigua. I gotta get to all that I can do because I know that there was flooding in Canandaigua County, and so we issued a press release because we do know that we've heard from some residents and individuals in Canandaigua who are struggling, obviously, with price gouging. And we, again, anticipate that a number of homeowners will be navigating insurance claims that are rejected. And so our office, obviously, will be there to address price gouging and insurance companies as we anticipate that they will reject a number of claims, because we know individuals are charging excessively higher prices because of the recent storm in Canandaigua. I'm going to keep practicing. And individuals should file a complaint, individuals from Canandaigua and in other areas of the county that have struggled with storms. And they can call my office at 1-800-771-7755 to the reporters. 1-800-771-7755. Individuals who are dealing with price gouging and insurance companies that unfortunately have rejected their claims. Because we want to help the residents of Canandaigua and other parts of the state of New York, and that's really important. We've got a number of cases, we're dealing with. I know a lot of you want to ask me about the case involving a very famous person. It's scheduled for October 2nd, that's all that I am saying. But as you know, he's dealing with a number of others. Our case is civil in nature. The reporter just moved his camera a little closer. Our case is civil in nature. It's October 1st. There's a number of other matters that he's dealing with here, not only in New York but across the nation. We've got that case that we are dealing with. We're dealing with a charities case involving the NRA. It's a charities case. Respect the Second Amendment, but the NRA was created in New York State as a charitable organization, and it's important that they comply with all the charitable laws in the state of New York. We are also dealing with a number of consumer cases. We are also dealing with social media cases. There's a bipartisan effort to look at social media cases and social media in general and its impact on young people who obviously are addicted to Twitter and other social media platforms. We are looking at that. We are also looking obviously at a number of mergers of hospitals, mergers of small colleges, through an antitrust lens, and we are dealing with issues involving women who unfortunately are being harassed at work, pay equity issues, and also housing issues in general, tenant issues, individuals who unfortunately are living in conditions which are horrific and threaten their safety and the safety of children. And we are dealing also in Syracuse, and particularly in Buffalo, a number of buildings that have lead in their paint, and unfortunately has impacted a number of children and their development. So that's what we are doing, and so now, John, do you mind if I open it up to a couple of questions? Okay. Any questions, particularly from Canandaigua? Any questions from anybody? Yes, sir.
Some of my constituents DEC's continuing extension to allow them to operate on this new campus weeks later to continue to operate because this is the state. And the federal, although in this case it is federal, the federal government reminded them that it's requirements of attorneys in order back into Senator
So, as you know, I represent all state agencies, including but not limited to DEC. But obviously, one of my missions is to protect the natural resources of the state of New York. And obviously, I'm concerned about all of these Bitcoin mining companies and cryptocurrency in general. We are also looking at cryptocurrency in general because it is unregulated, it is risky, and it fluctuates, and too many individuals, unfortunately, have lost their life savings who've invested in cryptocurrency because they thought it was backed by the state and the federal government, and in fact it was not. So we are looking at these mining companies. We are also looking to the state legislature. I know that there is a number of bills. There's one bill to ban mining, which is still pending in Albany. There's another bill to study in general, but I, as this chief law enforcement officer, need to look at and make sure that they're not having an adverse impact, obviously, on natural resources here in Ontario County. And we will look into that. Thank you, sir.
That's excellent.
We got to do a little louder for all of them.
I work with upgrading schools, and one of the concerns that I had was COVID. A lot of condos and that hierarchy that structure that people once had is no longer there. And with the teacher shortage, the teacher leaving, finding especially this year, a lot of young people got to get more to summer school and do extra work in school because not because they weren't learning, but because there were no teachers there.
Right.
And they're being sanctioned right now. They're able to kind of show up and get out of control. And our system seems to be kind of stuck on what to do. In my campaign, I'm hoping to make the system like you and help them all. So let's think about really happening and how we're trying to really educate what's going on with the teachers being what we got to do for the teachers. And somebody can see doing like and it's places now. My question is, what is the law component in regards to
So, most recently, we reached an agreement with the school district on Long Island that was disciplining disproportionately children of color and ignoring cases of bullying and hate out on Long Island. And we reached a settlement with them with respect to training, etc. With regards to the teacher shortage and the number of young people who unfortunately missed educational opportunities and days in school because of the COVID crisis, it really isn't an executive issue, it's an issue obviously for the legislature as well as members of the assembly and or the candidates who are running for that office. Whatever I can do in my capacity to focus on individuals who are disproportionately penalizing and punishing individuals because who are acting out or who obviously need social services and who need professionals, who need guidance counselors, etc. We will look at that and we will work with the state educational department to ensure that those children get the services that they desperately need. Particularly children who have IEPs, educational care. These are children who are suffering and struggling, obviously, with certain deficiencies. And it's really critically important that those children cannot be disciplined, but that they need services. And oftentimes they act out because it's a cry for help. What we need to do is assist them. So you're a candidate who's running for assembly. You want to approach the group and tell them about your platform? You can stand up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is James Schuler. I'm running for 130th. I'm of the people, from the people, for the people. So what I mean when I say that is that I'm not a politician. I don't have this great college education you're talking about. In fact, as you look me up, you're going to find that I actually went to prison. And in that point out base, a whole lot of change in the last, I would say, 15, 20 years now. I've been working within the youth agency department, to help bring about changes to our young people. And I've constantly been the same roadblock. And there's always been, because I'm in Wayne County, in the 130th district, it's always been that we talk one way. Unfortunately, we talk one way, but then we act another way. What I mean is we say we want to do these things, we want to see these changes, but then when it's time to come out to the poll and vote, we vote for the people who don't do these things that we want. So I'm getting involved in all my people connections and everything I have within Albany, within our community, within our district, to bring a face to the picture. We matter. We matter. The people matter. The consumer matters. Wayne County is not just a community of farmers. Some community that has a whole lot more to offer, and we need to really nourish that. So one of the things that I want to do is, again, help our young people. That's why I got like my team here, all young people. We got up. We got this. I'm hoping to train the young men here to one day become a future leader. So that's what we need. We need to bring
What's your website?
I'm on Facebook, James.
Oh, Facebook, sorry. Young people.
I'm on TikTok, but I'm on the James Fuller from the New York State Assembly, and I'm working to build my website. I just announced 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I just announced 2 weeks ago. But my community knows this. I've been doing this work for quite a while now, and my goal is bring us those resources that we need. I'm not saying that we're not doing work in Wayne County now. I'm just saying we're not doing enough. The 130, we need to do a lot more. Can't be satisfied with just getting to the line. We got to cross the line. So I'm gonna help us cross the line in Wayne County in the 130 district. That's my plan. We're gonna build it. We're gonna grow.
Okay. Give me his card. So look him up, James Schuler, who's running for New York State Assembly, and we thank you for your platform. Any other candidates here? Okay. Stand up. Come on, anybody. This is a platform. Let's go.
I'm Karen Green, and I have to say, I just won the primary for the I ran against the incumbent mayor who lost by almost 75%. We've got work ahead of us still in November, but it's almost embarrassing to say the basics of my platform, which are civility of all things. We have a city council that has been at each other, and it's not helped at all make any progress. So we're hoping to get past that by doing simple things like respecting each other, listening to each other, getting an office at City Hall, which our incumbent mayor doesn't seem to need for some reason, being responsive to the people. From there, we've got a lot to do, building more community pride here, the usual cutting taxes, all that stuff. But we're starting there at the very basics and then hoping to go from there to move to move forward, as we say. So, thank you.
Yes. David, Jerry, come here.
Okay, but hold on. I'll babysit. Come on.
Okay.
I'll babysit. Come on, baby.
All right.
Oh.
Hello everyone, my name is David Schulman. I'm running the Farmington Town Board. I don't know if you guys know where that is, but I have a big uphill battle. The whole board right now is all Republican, but that's where I feel called to run because they've been Republican year after year. They keep doing the same old thing, the same old ideas, and the same old status quo. So I felt like I got called into the race, one, to the same old people, but then two, when there was a water contamination issue that happened in Farmington, they didn't let us know until almost like a month later. They said the water would cause cancer or birth defects, and that was when my wife was pregnant at the time. And we drink water, we tap water every single day. So we hit it with bottled water for a little bit. So I felt like we were called, or I knew that I could do something different with the town, update it. We can, notify people in 2 seconds. They have all the information. Canandaigua is a huge, I think, inspiration for me. I know they update everybody just like that when there's a water oil advisory, and I know farmers can follow their steps in that way. So I've also been endorsed by the Run for Something campaign, the Working Families Party, and the Farmington Democratic Committee. So if you know anybody, your friends, family who live in Farmington, please tell them my name, Stephen Shields, and I will come and speak on your behalf, and I'll be a voice for positive change. Thank you very much.
Platform, come on, Liz. Hi.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm running for Ontario County Board.
challenged by a Democrat since the mid-90s, which is far too long. And also just to push services out to people in counties. You have this centralized location in Canandaigua. Not everybody can get there. Not everybody can get there during very specific hours and days to get services that they need. And we really let the residents access the services that they need to function in society, to do business. And businesses use that office so much to sell cars and do so many things, legal filings, property records. So we really want to change that office, bring in a lot of technology to help people function in today's society and prepare for whatever comes next. So we never know what's wrong. Thank you.
Any other candidates? Oh, come on.
My name is Jim Kennedy, and I'm currently serving on the Ontario County Board of Supervisors. I'm there in an appointed capacity as of last September. Long-standing, highly regarded supervisor Dominic Rivera resigned, and I'll take his place. I am running for office, for this office, which I feel prepared now. I and other Democrats, as well as some Republicans in the at the Board of Supervisors, voted out of concern and compassion about the state of emergency that was being declared by so many times regarding asylum seekers in New York City. So many of us are third, fourth generation Americans, felt that we need to keep our gates open and that there is no emergency. And we felt very strongly still do that this overstatement of emergency is not the way to govern, and it is also not, certainly not just the only issue that Ontario County is facing. Geneva, as part of Ontario County, Geneva looks like the rest of America. We are very concerned about protecting our identity, and also, as I said, regarding the late and the Bitcoin manufacturer whose CEO lives in Manhasset, New York, which is the town that I grew up in. We are very concerned about the continued waivers from DEC. The other issue is also an environmental one, and if I had a mandate or have a mandate going into the election season, it is to close one of the largest landfills in the United States, which is and it's due for closure in 2028. We want to ensure that the supervisors continues to make that commitment and closes it. And encourages other counties in New York State to take care of their own garbage in a sustainable way. We don't have that. So thank you for this unexpected opportunity, and thank you all for listening and for coming out.
No, and thank you.
My name is Ellen Zaratsky, and I'm the chair of the SOTUS Democratic Committee. I was also the chair of the SOTUS over the Wayne County Fair Democratic Committee, not fair, dinner. You were the bomb. I mean, so I thank you so much for being a guest. I'm also a candidate this year for SOTUS Town Council. You know, I asked, that may not seem like so much, but I asked everybody I knew, when's the last time there was a non-voting Democrat on SOTUS Town Council? And honestly, nobody could remember. So my platform so far is going to be public safety. We've had an issue just this year where our town ambulance was located 2 towns away. 2 towns away. And in Wayne County, that's far away. And there were deaths that happened because of that. It was not communicated to us, and I think that's very important. Communication is my other key point. We're in a small town, but we don't know what's going on. We don't talk about it. We don't know what's going on inside the chambers of the town council and the town supervisor. The third point's going to be a great one, and I'll let you know as soon as I come up with it.
Come forward, young man. Yeah. Come on. What are you running for? Since you're the youngest, what's your name? change the world? What do you want to, any ideas for us old people? Oh, Lord. 20 seconds. Let him just answer. Last person, come on, Jeff.
He's the reason we're all here.
I think I've been overly generous with your time.
Oh, it's okay.
I thank you.
You're amazing.
Everybody, my name is Scott Comedy.
Yay.
I'm currently the chair for the Wayne County Democrats, but I'm also a candidate for New York State Senate for the 54th district. So, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on my magic.
Jimmy.
Jimmy? A lot of the reason that I'm running to begin with has to do with my kids and his generation. Because a couple of years ago, I realized that my kids, my eldest turned 18, he didn't have the same opportunities that I had when I was 18. He just wanted to get out and get a job and live and get an apartment and things like that. Things were too expensive. There are too many barriers in his way to have a successful life the way he wants to live. And I want to make sure that that generation, including ours, I would like our generation to have that too. Your generation can successfully live the lives that you want. It's your genuine self, prosperity, security, and justice.
Justice.
And all that sounds like a very simple goal, but there's a lot that goes into it. So there's a lot of hard work that I want to put into it. And part of that, especially achieving the justice, is making sure that our area, the Finger Lakes, has good representation in our New York State legislature. That we have a real voice, that we're at the table making decisions. As far as I can tell, we've never really had that, and I would like to change that completely. And I think that next year is the year that we can do it. A lot of people keep telling me, oh, there's all the Republicans against you. You know what? This is not a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. This is a Finger Lakes issue. And we are appealing to everybody. Come on, nobody wants to have any barriers in their way. So let's work together. We will have a real voice in Albany and go from there.
Concept of justice. Any questions for me or any other candidates as we close? Yes, from Kanandawa. Yes, sir. You're a candidate? From Kanandawa? Kanandawa. No, it's fine. What's this? I didn't hear anything. Thank you, sir.
So I'm Guy Trichetti. I'm running for candidate for City Council to represent Ward 2. It's a simple platform. Candidate who's had a Democratic government for many, many years. Democratic has been able to keep taxes fairly low, kept the services fairly high. I'm also really passionate about the lake, Canandaigua Lake. Ward 2 encompasses most of the public lake lands. Kershaw Park. I want to talk about the landfill. A lot of the chemicals run into the lake. Talk about the green algae, which makes it consumable, makes drinking water unsafe. Try to keep things moving in the right direction. No, the landfill. And the farmers. Right. So I'm really passionate. I work at Seneca Falls, which had a landfill that was supposed to close. And the town council company invested a lot of money in the town council. I'm not sure about it. So I want to make sure that we 2028 was the date for the landfill. Make sure that happens for Ontario. Right. Simple. Thank you so much.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Just to piggyback on what Ryan did.
Johnson, thank you also for allowing me to hijack
Oh, between Wayne County, Ontario County, and Monroe County, there are 3 major landfills.
And Seneca.
And Seneca. We are the dump of New York State. The beautiful Finger Lakes become the dump, taking all that wonderful garbage that comes from downstate to put in our landfills. That's why it's a huge issue. It's environmentally, particular, but also unfairness.
Right.
We understand that not every county can have a solid waste facility,
Right.
but sooner or later these things are going to make their way through your office and the controller's office, I suspect. So,
There's one scheduled to close this week, and 2028. The others, is there a scheduled date?
Santa Falls was most of them for the village. Proposed law was on the 25th.
Let's say 2025.
25.
But it seems like the big corporation that makes us Texas is fighting something now. And like he said, they're backing some of the candidates to change the law. And some of the court got overturned. Well, the law, the judge threw it out because they didn't follow some microscopic procedure. He didn't put a stay on it. He didn't put a stay on it. He threw it out. We're in big trouble. Seneca Meadows, in Seneca Falls, where you were last time.
Yeah.
It's just overwhelming.
You might have smelled it if the wind was blowing the right direction.
Yeah. Overwhelming.
Or they probably shut it down for the next.
There's a lot of money that comes from that organization that people don't want to see go away. And so a lot of the people actually want to stay.
Yeah, and this touches on all the county legislators. I mean, that organization spends a lot of money. Our current state senator actually came from Casella, which runs the one that's supposed to close in 2028. A lot of money comes through this association. We've got politicians that are basically in the pockets to keep us as the dumping grounds for small group.
So is there any litigation now?
That's a big part.
The judge will approve the end, and they're trying to appeal, but I don't know where that's going to go because the town board is no longer Democratic. The town has no, they don't want to look at
It's the environmental organization. Senator Lake Purewater.
You know, there's something ironic too. One of the things that they claim is that they have to talk environmental review. Now, a proper
They went to
environmental
see-
review can close the landfill. You would think it doesn't go away.
They did a
environmental review to keep it open. No, they didn't do a proper background proposal.
They do secret, and it's secret.
They didn't do it. They didn't do it thoroughly enough or extensively enough.
They said they didn't do a secret when they made the decision to close it. Or the secret to open it, they said to go. It doesn't make any sense. That's right.
Interesting. Anyway, wow.
Write this down.
You need to come back.
That's really interesting. Okay.
You need to come back and we'll take you all around.
Yeah.
Twice each land.
But I gotta read the decision. I wanna read the decision.
When you leave, you can see two of those lands.
Okay.
They're the park
From the parking, great from this parking lot?
And on a clear day, you can see the midpoint.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think, that in Wayne County a couple years ago, they were trying to do one with stuff. And she got shot down.
Wow.
It's not open. They just close some down, but they're still trying to build it over there.
I'd like to just particularly that one is stop because all of us in Wayne County went out to Butler and said no.
Well, that's good.
So it's not just your office we're relying on. We're also relying on everybody here to actually organize and help us do this.
Will you show me more than landfills?
Yeah, go whole day.
Winery. Yes, winery. Yeah, the winery. I want to go to the winery. I want to go to the winery. Definitely. Definitely. Yes. Okay.
So, backtracking to one of the earlier things, so I'm the city council member in Basic.
Sorry, I didn't realize. I apologize.
So
It's
going
okay.
back many years, kind of well, we working with the town, working with the county, working with our water, and put in a number of storm rate stats. accomplish as best they could, based on our best knowledge and their teachers are almost set. And they were so that fun. And now, city, town, county, we're looking at where else we can try to store these in town. And at this point, we're looking at trying to plan how to acquire that. We don't want to go to the Boy Scout like that. It's great opportunities to take local money, see that, and
Right.
try to navigate that.
So you serve in the city council. Are you in the minority? You're in the majority. Okay. Oh, very good. Oh, okay.
Very careful trying to manage taxes if possible, we'd like to lower taxes, but and lower taxes we want to be able to give people.
I appreciate it.
But, it's very expensive. Making so that we don't have this sort of, as a couple, still 200 plus houses that we're trying to see. We are talking to it does sound like there's maybe some
Yeah.
but it doesn't really sound like individual assistance. Hurricane,
Whatever I can do in my capacity to assist you requirements of land.
well, that's kind of the thing as we're talking about that. Keep in contact with you if there's a certain amount of army being trying to take this serious.
We will assist you in providing some guidance. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We've heard a bunch of environmental related stuff.
Yes.
And you've heard a little bit of electoral stuff because they just wanted to ask that you work hard to help uphold the climate leadership and community protection standard that the state of New York has itself passed. Because as we see with the crazy ridiculousness of on-gas stoves, in an area that relies heavily on natural gas, forces that want to tune that law down, take us away from our goals. And they will, when I see is they're working at the local levels to try to overturn. So I hope you and your office will continue to defend us.
Well, you know, we defend all state laws. That's what we do. That's our job. So we're willing to court and defend it to the best of our ability. And as you know, we have a very high success rate.
Loves to fly for staff with us.
I do.
And she would probably stay and talk to us for the better part of the afternoon.
This is true. Buy ice cream.
But I know that she needs to be off to other places. So with that, we would like to get group pictures of everybody who come forward.
I am back from the Ontario County Democratic Committee meeting with Attorney General Letitia James. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I'll see everybody in my next video or live stream. Bye.